My name is Rachel Bryce. I'm the Program and Development Manager at Land for Good, and we work in the 6 New England states, specializing in farmland access, tenure, and transfer. And we've been doing this work for 20 years now. 2024 is our 20th anniversary. So thanks again for hosting. The purpose of this recording is to serve as a video accompaniment to the guide. And so it's my intention to physically walk you through the guide itself and show you some of the pieces and parts, give a little bit of an overview of how the guide was created and who was involved. So for some of you, this may be review. Thank you for your patience if that's the case. I am privileged and humbled to call my home in the unceded territory of the Pennacook, Wabanaki, and Abenaki people, which is also known as Southwestern New Hampshire. And for those of you who may be interested and unfamiliar, or if you're looking for a resource to share with folks that you work with in the field, I recommend you to visit this website. It's native-land.ca. And if Tim or Kiani, if one of you wouldn't mind putting that URL into the chat so folks have it to share. I just want to show you how this map works. If you're interested to use it or show your clients how to use it, when you open the website, the disclaimer pops up to tell a little bit about its purpose. And you then go to the map and you'll see that it shows much of the globe. You can physically manipulate it. And you can also type in where you are based on your address or your zip code. So if I put in my zip code, this is where I currently live. And then you can also zoom out to see the names of the people who have stewarded this land and continue to steward this land currently. So that's a pretty cool resource that I recommend you to check out if you haven't, and share with your clients if you think they might be interested. So again, we're all here to spend some time talking about the new guide that Land for Good and the Ohio Ecological Food and Farming Association have recently released together. And if you've had a chance to look at it, this cover will be very familiar to you. Just to give you a bit of a tour of the beginning, once you either start to scroll through, or if you happen to have a physical copy, once you open it, the front matter gives credits and tells a little bit about who was involved in the creation of this guide. And I do want to note and emphasize that like all such materials, this guide, it merely scratches the surface of the conversations around land justice. The conversation isn't finished. It's almost certain we will have left some folks' viewpoints out. And we do consider it, and by we I mean both Land for Good and Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association, we do consider a work in progress, and we actively seek feedback and want that feedback. And so if, as you are using the guide or working with your clients with the guide, if things come up that you'd like to share that you think could improve this resource in future iterations, we definitely want to hear about it. So as Tim mentioned, Kathy Roof, who is our senior advisor here at Land for Good, she was one of the founders back in 2004. She was the lead writer on this content. She and Tim worked closely with members of Land for Good and OEFA to create the guide. And the way the guide came about is through our work, the work of Land for Good and OEFA. We were hearing directly from owners of farmland who wanted more information and some guidance on how they could start to address land justice concerns and how they could think about how to share their land in a more equitable way. And so as part of the process of writing the guide, it was sent out to a number of reviewers whose names are listed in the front matter. They had the chance to read iterations of the guide, give feedback. It was quite a long and lengthy process, and actually also a lot of fun. So I'm really pleased to share it with you today. This is the first time that we've had any public sharing of the guide with a broader audience. So it's a big privilege to be here with you. If you are using the digital version of the guide, the resources in the table of contents are clickable. So you can click through, and at the bottom of each page, there's also a way to easily click back to the table of contents. So the digital version of the guide is physically quite easy to navigate. The preface of the guide gives, again, as I said, the briefest of overviews of the context of why this guide was created. Scrolling through pages 6 through 10, give an overview of what it is we mean by land justice when we were in the process of creating the guide. And then each of the sections, if you scroll through, in the methods portion of the guide itself, goes into discrete methods for how you can make farmland available, either by retaining ownership, where the person keeps legal ownership of the land and finds ways to share it, or by transferring ownership to a different party. And for each method, there will be provided an overview of what the method is. So the first method in the first section is a land acknowledgement, lists some advantages of that method, and then cautions, things to consider, additional resources to look into, and examples. And again, if you're using the digital version of the guide, those are all clickable. I also want to point out that this guide uses Chicago-style citations. So you'll notice that there are footnotes at the bottom of some of the pages that could either give additional information about something in the main body of the text, or could direct you to an additional resource. And then towards the end, there's some information about if you're using this guide as a service provider, working with farmland owners, things for them to consider. There is a section specific to and specially intended for service providers. And then at the end of the guide, there's both a glossary of certain terms that we thought might be helpful to define, and additional resources towards the end. So that's just the very briefest of tours through the guide itself to help you get oriented with the content, give you a little bit of background. I really appreciate the chance to share this with you today, and do again want to encourage and emphasize, if you or if anyone you're using this guide with does have feedback, we definitely want it. So thanks so much.